So, I hear we're into some of the same stuff.
You are about to join the revolution.
The time has come. Your world will never be the same. You are listening to a sophisticated conversation.
Greetings and welcome to episode number 37 of Podcast Revolution. Joining me today from Germany might be Podcast Revolution's biggest European fan, Thomas Robert Beatman, aka Tab. Hello.
Hey.
Tab.
Hey.
Also known as the Taubus.
I prefer Tab.
He prefers Tab. All right.
Because the Taubus is a terrible, terrible person.
That might be factual.
Perhaps.
For some reason, you're coming in a lot louder than me. Let me try this.
Yeah,
All right,
you can adjust it on your end.
All right, am I louder now?
No.
No? All right, well, that's fine. Anyways, so we're here in the studio. Well, I'm here in the studio. It's been a while for Podcast Revolution, so it feels good to be back in the game. But it hasn't been a while for you. You've been all podcasted out pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, I listened to, I'd say, the first couple podcasts when you first started, and then I took a big vacation from listening until about 4 days ago, where I listened to all of them, pretty much with the only breaks being sleeping. I spent a lot of time just listening to them while doing other things. It wasn't like I was sitting in a dark room with the podcast playing, but I listened to all 36 and the Bachelor Party episodes, the Canada episodes, and the commercial special.
That's dedication right there. You're the second fan we've known to do a marathon. But this marathon trumps the other one.
Yeah, so I mean that's 40 hours. So I must have spent the past week just I've lost all sense of time, I guess. But whatever. So
you must feel like you know the members of the show like family now.
Oh yeah, I mean it's great. Like I kind of in this, but it's like I talk to the show as I listen to it. Someone makes a comment, I make a comment back. It's like, oh, cages, things like that. But mostly it's more like when you say something and I have something to say about it, I contribute to my own personal version of the show.
Well, it's very interactive.
Yeah.
And
it allows for listener contribution, even if it's not actual.
That whatever makes the show more entertaining for you, we encourage it.
Yes, Podcast Revolution is very supportive of its delusional members in its audience.
Hey, we need fans, so we'll take what we can get. So, have you tried showing this to anybody else over in Germany?
I do not think that would be a good idea, just because I don't have many friends as it is, and I don't think I'd make any with this show.
Well, do you think it would give them an accurate portrayal of what American life is like?
It might. I mean, I don't know. I guess, maybe?
Well, let me ask you this. Do most people in Germany who have cell phones, do they know their cell phone number?
I'm almost certain that they do. So you can report that straight to Cages. I was almost tempted to talk to you before we started the show and do the bit where you give me his number, and so you just mention it. I'm like, even I know Cages' number, despite the fact that I'm not actually friends with Cages. Although I did know him briefly.
And then you'd be 6 time zones away too.
Yeah. That'd be even better if we started off and I just pretended I was actually German, like you knew me through some weird thing, we've never met in person, but I still know stuff. But that would just be, I think, a little bit much.
That's true.
And also, I'd get really tired of doing a lousy German accent.
Have you picked up a lousy German accent since you've been over there?
A lousy German accent? No, not at all. This is how I sound normally. It's not like I'm pretending to have an American accent.
Well, could you give us a little rant in German, like how Davi gave us a rant in Portuguese earlier?
Not spontaneously. It would be very slow paced.
Okay.
And Kind of boring.
Oh, you could just go 999 over and over again.
I've done that.
That's the best German, anyways.
No, honestly, one of the most humorous German impersonations I've ever done was like before I learned any German, and it was just me pretending to be like Hitler. And I think I'm just going to leave that at that and not go into any further details.
That's fair. So, what brings you to Germany? Why are you over there?
Well, I've wanted to come here for like, at least back in high school, definitely. And I'm here for graduate school, so I kind of combined both and was like German graduate school. Although I'm at an international school, so everyone speaks English, so there's not really a language barrier unless I'm going grocery shopping and can't find something.
Like at Havenhoofd, who closed and made you very mad.
Yeah, it's the German thing, and I'm sure people who have been to Europe, I imagine it's a European thing, I don't know if it's just German, but on Sundays, pretty much everything is closed. Everything. Every Sunday. And with me, it's kind of, and it's also just convenient, because it's not like they have, a Sam's Club or a Costco or anything like that, or BJ's?
Yeah.
There's no like bulk stores, so you buy things day to day or every couple of days. So sometimes Sunday rolls around and I'm like, oh shit, I don't have any food, and there's nowhere to buy food. So I'm just kind of scavenging on water with some lemon juice. Cinnamon.
Are there any McDonald's that are open on Sundays?
I don't know. The closest one to me is in the Havenhoofd, which is the mall. So the mall's closed, so it's closed. But some restaurants are open on Sundays.
Okay, not bad. Maybe you should start a restaurant out there.
Yeah, I could make plain rice.
And you can make it Sunday only restaurant.
Sunday only restaurant. Yeah, I could run it out of my room. And get one of those like hanging rope ladders, because I'm on like the 4th floor, and just hang it down. So you just climb up the ladder, and I hand you your food, your steaming hot coffee.
And you have a more science-based major, or that's what you're studying, so you can make it a science-themed restaurant.
Yeah. I think with the exceptions of, Bad Andy and Cages are engineers, but besides Bacteria Mike, I think I'm the, life science person that's been on the show.
That's true. And you can make for instance, you can make a food that you have to dissect before you eat it.
That would be weird.
Hey, since you've recently listened to a lot of episodes, did you come across the one where we discussed tipping?
Yes.
How does tipping work in Germany?
I imagine it's like what I'm familiar with in France, just from when I took French in like junior high, where it's incorporated into the bill. But I honestly have never had to pay for something at a restaurant. Here. So I don't know.
Okay. Because, I found a list online of all the people you're supposed to tip, and there's some really outrageous, like, tips that you're supposed to give. Like, I don't have the list on hand, so I can't reference it, but, like, basically in everyday life, you're supposed to tip, like, 30 people a day. And basically,
really?
So much people you're supposed to tip that you can't even make money yourself.
Does the list include the baggers at grocery stores?
It might have. I believe it did.
Wow.
Yeah.
I like now with the whole kind of, I don't want to say it's part of the green movement, but the whole environmental conscious thing that you tend to you're encouraged to bring your own bag, so they don't have baggers, which is great, because one of those things like bagging isn't difficult, and half the baggers suck at it.
Yes. They just throw everything in. They throw like meat in with stuff that meat shouldn't be with, and
But the great thing with that is that there's certain things like really meat should be in its own bag, But with certain things, it doesn't really matter. Like, it's like, oh, I've got the meat in the same container as the vegetables I'm going to cook eventually. And it doesn't fucking matter.
True.
But if you've got it, of course you don't put it with milk.
Yeah, or you put the milk on top of the bread. Well, who does that?
Yeah, you put the sturdy things on the bottom, and it builds. It's great. It's like, oh yeah, I'll throw your potato chips in, and then oranges, Although I don't think oranges come in cartons. I don't think they ever come in cartons.
No.
No. I'm clearly my PPR marathon has affected my brain.
It's highly possible. Very likely. But so during PPR, what did you notice that the average person might not have noticed about the show?
About the show, well,
What are some idiosyncrasies you
besides
picked up on?
some idiosyncrasies, I find really entertaining, and it's one of those things that if you don't pay enough attention during the show, you don't realize if you're someone who doesn't actually know that the cast of the show is, the relation between our host Johnny T and producer Melissa. Because most of the time you just refer to her as Melissa. I think only once you've actually mentioned that you're married, which is something people wouldn't know, because most of the time you just refer to her as if she's the producer. I mean, it's like it would be like on Frasier or something,
Well, that's what the wedding podcast was for.
Well, I don't remember the wedding podcast mentioning her by name. It was just like you're getting married, there's a bachelor party. It was up in the air.
Okay. That's true. I never thought about that.
Yeah, and I mean, it's something that's really not important to the show. It's not like, oh, he's married to the producer. I'm sure there's lots of nepotism going on there. It's like, no. I mean, it's not like this show makes $10 million a year. And
Not yet. Not yet.
Not yet. Not yet. When it does, I hope I'm still involved in, being on this one episode. I hope I get royalties.
You'll be our stat guy. You'll have to listen to every episode and keep track of. You'll have to transcribe everything. Well,
yeah, I mean, it's great. Like, I'll listen to some of the shows. I wish I could have, traveled back in time and been like, no, you guys are incorrect about this, or, you have a misconception. But at this point, having listened to so many shows, I can't remember any of those examples of things that I wish I could comment about.
Yes, on this show,
and
we love getting
if I was like, for the
10 guys, episode 22, you misreferenced something and used the term Battle Rock correctly.
I mean, no. Just no.
You sounded like those nerdy voices that you despise so much.
It's not the nerdy voices. It's the I'm going to just refer to it as the Tusken Raider noise, although that's not why they're making it.
That one?
Yes, that's the exact one. That's really irritating because that's the one thing that I personally find irritating about the show, and it's just because I live in a small room and I live near people, is that there's not a consistent volume to the show. So you'll be talking, and I have my television, which is where I'm listening to the volume that's good, and then suddenly the nerds start being Tusken Raiders, and it's 10 times louder, and I'm pretty sure my flatmate thinks I'm a serial killer.
Yes, that's a common complaint on the show. We thought about addressing it, but then decided not to.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Really, the show isn't about the listeners.
No. Because if the listeners wanted to be more involved in the show, they'd email us, which they don't do. Exactly. And then again, the onus could be put on us a little bit, because we always tell them to email, but we don't always say what the email address is.
Yeah, but by now, any loyal listener should know that it's podcastrevolution@gmail.com.
Pretty easy email.
Not podcastrevolution@gmail.com, as referenced several episodes ago.
Yes, Bacteria Mike misspoke briefly, but it was quickly repaired.
What you really should do, though, is get some backup email addresses like that one, just in case people just keep screwing up the email address. That way you can just stay in contact, because, you don't want to lose those emails. You don't want to lose listenership.
I'm pretty sure listeners who screw up the email, their emails aren't worth listening to or reading.
Exactly. I think what you should really do is put down a call-in number for the show. You can just make it be Cage's phone number. They'll never pick up. You'll be like, here's the number, and Cage's will be like, oh, I didn't know you guys had a number, and then suddenly his phone will just start ringing off the clock,
I think that's a good idea. I might have to do that.
I think so.
Freaking Cage.
It's actually it's funny that just mentioning cell phones. When I moved here, I brought my Verizon phone, and the whole plan was I could convert it for international calls. When I got there, on here, the plane didn't explode midair from terrorism. But for whatever reason, it didn't work, so my cell phone didn't work, and I never really have made a big use of the cell phone. So right now, I don't have a phone, and it's not really a big deal because, again, I never really used one. But I'm worse off than Cage's. It's it's hey baby, and she's like, oh, what's your number? It's I don't own a phone.
That's troubling.
And I mean, if this was like a half year ago, I'd be even worse off. They'd be like, "Well, you're on Facebook, right?" And I'd be like, no." But when I realized I was leaving the country, I figured Facebook would be a good idea.
It seems to have worked out for you.
Yeah, I think so.
But let's see. It looks like it's time for a quick break, so we'll be back after this.
Hi, my name is John Williamson, your spokesperson here at Pokémon Promise at PokémonPromise.com. Imagine the sadness that you would feel after returning from a 3-day binge and Metallic concert with your pet in the care of Pokémon Promise, only to find that it has died in the intervening time due to whatever. But imagine how reinvigorated it would be to return to find that little Mittens, who has died, has been brought to new life in a deliciously comfortable pair of fur gloves. Or you return to find that Speedy, your beloved pet tortoise, and Go-Go, your other beloved pet tortoise, have died while in the care of Pokémon Promise. But imagine how great it would be if through their deaths you get a really badass pair of shoes that are both functional and stylish. With the new Pokémon Promise Pelts program, you can enjoy new life from your pet's death, and their dead tomorrow can be yours today with Pokémon Promise. So, if your pet is going to die soon, or has already died, or you just really want a nice fur coat, and you also want your pet to die through unforeseen occurrences, go to Pokémon Promise at PokémonPromise.com and check out our new page about Pokémon Promise Pelts and its program. Thank you.
Alright, and we're back. Wasn't that a hilarious commercial?
Yes, it was quite informative and amusing.
I agree. And I just want everyone to know that that commercial, though informative, amusing, entertaining, it is not endorsed by the real Pokémon Promise.
Which is a shame, because they could be making a gold mine.
They could be. Maybe in the future.
I would go to their site.
Well, you can go to PokémonPromise.com anytime you want, but for now...
Yeah, I think the funny thing is I've heard those commercials so many times, I really want to just check the site out, despite the fact I'm not even in the U.S. Like, it's not even like I could ever possibly use them as a service.
Well, it is a real site where they do real stuff.
It took me at least 5 episodes to understand the name of the site when you were Pokémon Promise. It was just gibberish.
Pokémon Promise!
Yes.
But, so, what have you been up to lately for the last couple weeks? Besides your marathon.
Not that much, just, schoolwork kind of stuff. But recently, I don't know why this came into my head. I must have been thinking about Pokemon, and I don't even want to know what made me think of the other part, but I thought to myself, something that the listeners don't know, but John does, is that I hate furries with just, like, it's almost to the point of being over the top. Like furries are just terrible. Like, we all understand that. But, like, for me, I go too far with it. But for whatever reason, I thought to myself, it would be ridiculous, like, someone who's a furry, but, like, they're furry for a Pokemon. Wouldn't that just be, like, the stupidest thing you've ever heard of? And then I made the mistake of thinking to myself, well, that thing can't possibly be sure. I'll Google search it. And sure enough, I found, websites and stuff for Pokemon furries. And it was just, it was worse than terrorism. Let me put it that way. Yes. It was terribly troubling. Like, there weren't like, dudes dressed up as Pokemon, although I've seen that, like, don't even ask. But, there were drawings and things that were just not meant for man to see.
I bet you could never look at a Raichu the same now.
Oh, God.
Those rosy cheeks.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, yeah.
Or Sandshrew, or any of those fine
I mean, I don't think anyone can look at a Diglett just ever, because it just, no.
Were there any coughing ones?
Oh, Lord. I don't think so.
Someone could mistake coughing for a pair of boobs or something.
I don't know. I feel like coughing, you can make one of those, like when you go to get a physical, and you have to, the doctor grabs your junk and tells you to cough,
Oh, my. All right. This is just terrible.
It's like, turn your head, cough twice, please. Oh, dear.
And for people who don't know anything about Pokemon, this makes no sense to them at all.
Well, I mean, our listeners are clearly the sort of people who follow sports, girls, Pokemon, sophisticated conversation.
Girls.
I feel like no matter what happens to the opening song, there needs to be the line "sophisticated conversation" because it's such a just inappropriate description of this program.
A sophisticated conversation.
I would love to hear some sophisticated conversation because, like, even going into this with a certain amount of seriousness, on who haven't listened to the show, it is not sophisticated, even with them.
I think I was, let me try to phrase this a good way. One of my favorite compliments I've got for the show was that we were like a sophisticated Beavis and Butthead.
I mean, I actually never watched Beavis and Butthead. I've just never been like when I was younger, complete tangent, but when I was really young and South Park first came out, I was like, this is completely retarded. I just didn't get it. And then in college, I started watching it, and I found it really hilarious. And then when I graduated college, it was just done. I was just like, nope, this is just shit again.
Like Family Guy.
So, but yeah, like this show, I feel like it's like one of those like radio morning shows, except it's not broken up by 10 minutes of ads, and it's just like, it's not like stupid. It's a good morning show, or whenever you listen to it, which for me is all the time.
Oh boy, it's funny. This started as just a fun experiment, see how far we'd go with it, and I'm not going to say it took off, but it's done well enough.
Well, I mean, yeah, this is what, episode 37? I mean, right. That's 37 episodes. I mean, what was it? Two Drunk Dudes or whatever the one Josh did was like 2 episodes.
Oh, did you find that to listen to it?
No, I didn't even look for it. No, I'm loyal.
It's Josh put it pretty well when he said it was incomprehensible garbage. That's it's terrible. It's amazing.
I mean, like with this show, it's really funny. Like 10 years down the line, it'll just be gibberish.
Oh yeah,
because it's all about like the movie that just came out or the sports game you guys just saw. Although the listeners hate the sports sections.
Are you like those listeners who hate sports?
I don't hate sports, but like I'm not an athletic person. I'm not a competitive person, so I don't play sports. I don't sport. Although I did have a very short and successful career as an ice hockey goalie.
Actually, let's backtrack a little bit, because you say you're not athletic. You did pretty well at floor hockey goalie.
I got it. Yes. For those of you who didn't pick up on it, I was actually a terrible ice hockey goalie because floor hockey goalie does not translate well into ice. If you do not know how to ice skate well, I can go forward and turn on ice skates, but nothing else, and so being an ice hockey goalie did not work well for me. But yes, you were correct. Wasn't I pretty good for...
I'm going to get a little more in depth on that. And floor hockey, okay. I trained you. You got really good. And your glove hand was one of the best glove hands I've trained.
My stick hand was awful. It was very unimpressive. Like, I never used it. But my glove hand made up for it, I think.
You gloved stuff all the way on the opposite side when you didn't even need
to.
It
was one of those things, like, if I was amputated at the arm and you just kind of, like, glued the stick, it wouldn't have really changed my game.
No. But no, you
played
the angles, you played smart. But then when we trained ice, I apparently misjudged your skating ability, and it was a horrible miscalculation, and it led to one of the most embarrassing goaltending incidents I've ever seen.
I remember once, it was during between one of the quarters, although there's only 3, right?
3 periods, yes.
Yeah, periods, thank you. I was about to say, it can't be quarters, that isn't right. But I remember once it was between periods, and so I got to, drink from a bottle, because I wasn't I was going to go over to the bench. I wasn't moving anywhere. But it was like I had my gloves off, and suddenly the game started up again. I didn't have my glove on. I didn't have my pad on. I didn't have my stick. I'm like, what the hell? like apparently when the ref was like, everybody ready, he just like looked at me and saw me, gloveless, and just like, he looks good to me.
And no, that was just embarrassing. Like, there were some points where you'd be hugging the right post, and the skater would skate across the crease to the other side. You'd look at him, but you didn't move. and whenever you went down, you needed help getting up.
I'm noiselessly laughing at my own awfulness. Yeah, it was pretty shameful. Luckily, you replaced me with a competent person.
Yes, but the team retained its name as No Win, and we lived up to our name. But
yeah. I gotta say, like, when I said how I don't like competition, that was one of the nice things about being a goalie. Was it really wasn't like you're competing; it was just your job was to keep a puck out of the goal.
And you didn't do your job.
Well, not on the ice. Not on the ice.
But no, it's good exercise too. Just fooling around.
But on the floorboards, I did my job.
You did.
Although I really wanted to do on the Super NES, there's one of the ice hockey games. I want to say it's Stanley Cup something, but essentially, like, if you take your character and go up to a goalie, you just are immediately plowed to the ground. I kind of wanted to do that at some point, just like club a dude. Kind of Hanson style, but reverse, because they took out the goalie.
But also, the game Blades of Steel for regular Nintendo, you get anywhere near the goalie, you're going down. Like, you just touch the goalie and you flop over.
Like, the goalie is 100% computer controlled and will destroy you.
Oh, man. Video game hockey is incredible.
Yes.
Oh, dear. So, what else have you been up to lately besides the Pokemon furry thing?
Yeah, I mean, that's really been something I've been thinking about a lot lately. I mean, that was like a 20 thing. I think it was yesterday, I don't know, I gotta say, I remember you guys talking about this after the Canada special, but there's like the differences in like of different countries, and in Germany, the candy and snack selection just sucks.
Really?
I mean, they've got like everything that you would get from the Mars Corporation, so M&Ms and or whatever, and Mars bars, Snickers, Milky Ways. They have that stuff. Not much for Hershey products, and not much of a lot of things that like I need to live, like Sour Patch Kids. They don't have them.
What about
period.
Like the homemade stuff like fudge factories and whatnot?
Haven't seen them.
Really? Huh. But there's a lot of beer halls, right?
Beer halls are really kind of a thing that you see at like the festivals, and they're not like permanent structures.
Interesting.
I mean, downtown there's the old city hall, and the basement of it is like a restaurant with giant casks of wine. So you've got that.
Because when Eric
there, but I've been.
Yeah, when Eric went to England, he was telling us how like every town there had a brewery, and he even got a picture in front of the Butcombe Brewery.
There's a I think it's a Beck's Brewery, I think somewhere nearby. I know that. I can't say any more about it than that though, because it's just not something I know anything about.
True.
It's boring.
Oh boy. So lately I've been up to more of the usual, been working out a bit, working on some writing. I recently saw the movie Tron Legacy.
Yeah.
Which I think a reviewer, I think it was New York Times, put it best when he said that the movie is like a fleshlight in the sense that it'll get you off, but in the end it's just plastic.
Oh my.
So I think that's an accurate statement.
I've never seen the original Tron. It's a Disney movie, but it's not like a Disney movie that I feel like people of our generation grew up on.
No.
And is that a correct assessment?
That's correct.
Yeah.
It's the original Tron. I got that on DVD. I rented it from the UNH library when we were there, and it was awful. It was just terrible.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a couple when I think I was at Disney World a long time ago, and there was after one of the rides there was some stuff where you could dub Tron stuff, and I remember just being like, "What is this movie? This looks awful." It's one of those things the Tron guy.
Jeff Bridges?
No, not the guy from Tron, but Tron guy.
Oh,
the guy who like made his own Tron outfit. Yeah. Like you look at that, you're like, that thing looks like shit, but I think like it's better quality than what was in the movies.
Yeah, most
not,
likely.
Not the new movies, which are apparently like at least badass looking, but it looks like it's all style and no substance.
That's pretty much. They definitely didn't spend time on the script. That
Clearly.
was the least of their concerns.
I feel like one guy was like, "Hey guys, we'll have like a light cycle chase," and I'll be like, and they were like, "Awesome, let's make it."
Yep, that's what they did. But yeah, Tron, cool to look at. Probably, I don't know how it'll translate to like TV. Oh,
yeah.
Hey, hang on a second. I'm being paged. We'll take a short break. I will be right back after this.
I can't wait to get into Blockbuster and get my movie titles. What? It's closed? Oh no!
Well, you see, hey, fella, come over here for a second.
What? Who are you?
I'm just a normal guy on the street, but there's a new thing. It's actually not that new, but it's called Netflix, and you can stream videos or have them mailed to your house.
Well, what kind of movies starring animals do they have?
Oh, are you talking live action or animated?
Either or.
Well, I'm sure they have Free Willy.
Oh, Free Willy. Ooh. I free my Willy all over the place.
And, probably like All Dogs Go to Heaven.
Oh, that's my heaven. Ooh. What else?
On the DVD, you could probably have them send you The Lion King.
Oh, Lion King. Wow, this sounds... What's it called again?
It's called Netflix. And, yeah, you can pretty much watch the movie on... If you have certain handheld devices, you can watch it on there. You can watch it on your laptop, on your Xbox, on your PlayStation, on your... whatever you have, really.
Do you think they stream to prison?
Prison? That's funny to me. I don't know why that's funny, but it is. Are you from prison?
No, I work there as a butt inspector.
Go to Netflix. It's cheaper now and streaming only, but more expensive for other things, which makes people mad, but I don't care.
Netflix.
Alright. That was pretty terrible.
There's one part where I had my hands clasped over my mouth to keep myself from dying.
Prison?
But oh my goodness, this is oh wow.
This is retarded.
I'm so glad I could contribute to your show.
Oh boy. Alright, I'm gonna hang up and call right back. Alright, that was mildly disturbing.
I agree.
A little more than mildly, actually. But Netflix is a great company, and I endorse them to the max.
Yes, I actually have 4 Netflix subscriptions at once. Not really.
Oh, they make you have to do that in Germany. It's a kind of international thing.
There isn't like mailing your stuff Netflix, but I'm sure I could stream Netflix from Germany. I don't know. I'd have to look into it.
I don't know. But anyways, we did actually get an email for this one.
And, some letters from the fans?
It looks like it's another one from Ramon.
Oh God, Ramon?
Or as he says his name is, anyways. But I still don't even know who Ramon is. Like, Ramon, you need to show yourself. So I don't know if your name's even Ramon, but all right, here we go. Dear John, Eric, Frenchie, Bacteria Mike, Bad Andy, Cages, and the rest of my PPR friends. It's obvious that he listens to the show a lot since he knows everyone's name. It's been some time since my last email, but again, I hope you can help me with my relationship problems. Having dumped my last 3 girlfriends because they were sexually incompatible, I could never get any of them to have full boners, even with flower petals leading up to the bedroom, which was a pretty cool sex move. I finally got together with my new girlfriend, Bianca, but she is Serbian. How does one put their dick in a Serbian vagina? I mean, normally they stretch out of the way and are easy to access, but on her, I have to use my hands and move the foreskin out of the way. And it's really inconvenient. Should I use scissors? Should I use a big knife? Your thoughts on the matter? And he concludes by saying, I assume that Bad Andy or Eric would know a lot about this sort of thing. Friend of the show, Ramon.
Use a big knife. Oh my god, this is... I feel like there needs to be like a way to forward these sorts of emails to the proper authorities.
Yes. Ramon doesn't seem to be having much luck in the relationship world.
No, I think if you count out like his many emails he sent to the show, they are all troubling.
And I think basically the running thing that I've noticed, a theme of his emails, is that he doesn't seem to realize that his girlfriends, they have feminine names, but it seems they're in fact males.
Yeah, he does seem to be in the company of a lot of transvestites.
I mean, foreskin typically isn't something you want to be messing around with.
Yeah, I mean, maybe like, I don't know. That's just for a small period of time, given the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he's just using the wrong word. Maybe let's pray that maybe he's just confusing. You know, I don't know, the flaps with a different term that he learned from his priest or something.
It's very possible,
but in that case, you know, it's still a weird question.
Well,
I mean,
in that case, I definitely wouldn't recommend scissors or a big knife.
Or a big knife, not a small knife, Ramon. You don't want to use a small knife. Those things are just gonna make things more complicated.
I'm not sure how old Bianchi is or how much what's that word for? It's not foliage. Or is it? I don't care. How much vegetation there is down there. But lube might be something you might want to look into. That might make things a little easier, Ramon.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to advise against scissors or a big knife. Those are both his. Yeah, I think John's suggestions is probably the only thing I can think of that's within the realm of sanity.
Or I know it might be embarrassing for you, and that's why you go under disguise and talk to an obscure radio show. But you might want to go to a physician and talk to them.
Yeah, I mean, Ramon, you might even just want to go on the internet and look up the word penis, because it might tell you some things that you didn't realize. You know,
there's lots of pictures online, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, this may just be
there's even pictures of Pokemon with it.
Yeah, this may not even be Ramon's fault. This might be his parents' fault. Maybe he's from one of those abstinence-only program schools. You know, maybe he just doesn't understand that women have different things down there. Okay, I think we're done with this letter from Ramon.
But Ramon, we wish you the best of luck, and please don't hesitate to email us again and let us know the results.
Or what your next disturbing relationship problem is.
Yeah, he's gone through a lot of girlfriends. I mean, he doesn't seem to have trouble getting women. It just has I say women
in quotes
hesitantly.
Yeah. I think if anything, like, I don't know if this is part of PPR's standard protocol, but maybe you should send an email back to him just in case, like, he just seems to be missing the fact that we seem to find something horribly wrong with his emails. Maybe we should really really reach out to him. And
Well, that's what we're doing right now. We're speaking to him. We don't need to email him back. He listens to
But
every episode. He knows who
what
everyone is.
What if he's deaf?
That would be
And yes,
troubling.
I know how stupid that sounds, considering that we're a radio show, but I really like how I've already gotten to the point where we're saying we are, as if I'm like a major part of this show.
Well, that's how it feels because it's been ingrained in your brain now since you've been listening to it nonstop.
Exactly. I feel like I've been there every time. Like, you know, in my mind though, like whenever you first, you know, being in the studio, I imagine like some weird dank basement and we're all just hanging out and, you know,
Like that
clowning on her. Yes, like that 70s show. But I imagine it being darker and not with one of those cool staircases that leads up to the garage.
Okay.
And oh god, I've definitely seen too many episodes of that show.
All right, so actually, in your little marathon, who would you say is the show's #1 star as a guest?
As a guest, that's a tough one because really I should choose from one of the ones that's been on a lot, like Cages or Bad Andy or Captain J. Russ. But some of the people who've been on one or maybe even just one episode have really shown it. But that's more of it's a change in environment because when you have like your show's different. But I would have to say sometimes Bad Andy pisses me off. You know, he's kind of got an ego, and while he's making some friends, he's making some enemies as well. You know. But
He's a good
even though
villain.
he irritates me sometimes, he tends to contribute pretty well to the show. And I actually kind of hate saying that. Like, I wish I could say, like, Cages, but honestly, recommending a guy named Cages also kind of feels weird. So actually, I'm going to take back what I said. I'm going to go and say Captain J. Russ is probably the best guest.
That's interesting because he was supposed to be with us right now, but he's having some issues from last night, mainly involving a massive thunderstorm in Florida. Maybe he has no power. I'm not sure.
Maybe you know his closet door is open a little bit and he can't sleep.
No. Now you're going to confuse listeners and think that J. Russ
No,
had the issue.
I know that my listeners, dude. If anybody knows the listeners, it's me.
You're the representative.
Yes,
You're our liaison to the listeners.
Yes, all because I mean that last episode we have according to the website 8 downloads, which is a record low.
Well, but just so you know, though, that doesn't account for downloads through iTunes or other programs. That's only
True.
downloads
Very
directly
true.
from the site.
Yeah, I mean what we really need to do is start cracking down on this show pirating. You know, where are we going to get the big money if they keep pirating us? And before you ask who I mean by who, shut up.
And money. Where's this money coming from?
Well, I'm assuming I'm getting paid 500 euros for this guest star. I'm big money here in Germany. I make like 10,000 euros a day.
What's a
For
little
guest
500? Why do you
actually. I care. It's on principle.
care? All right. Well, you come over here and pick it up then.
Right.
We don't have.
I'm afraid if I keep talking like this, I'm gonna have a bit of an ego. And I'm gonna make some friends, but make some enemies as well, and that's not what I want.
Like Cages or Bad Andy.
Yes, like those two people who I have opted to not be the top guests.
That was great when we got the hate mail for
For Cages.
by Peter.
What was that, Peter Horton?
Yes, he's the one who corrected about the Baby Bowser thing.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Baby Bowser and Bowser Jr. are not the same individual.
Yeah, I noticed that myself, yeah. I was glad somebody wrote into the show.
Bowser as a baby, but I still don't know who I'd forgive, Jesus or Baby Bowser. Or was that the question? I haven't heard that one in a while.
Well, let's see. I listened to that I think earlier today. I think it was who would you forgive, the Jews or Baby Bowser? And Eric brought up, I think, the point that really sold the Baby Bowser being the choice is that why do the Jews need to be forgiven? And I really appreciate that, Eric. There's so much anti-Semitism on podcasts these days. It was really refreshing.
Yes, Eric was a conscientious objector to that particular conversation.
Yeah, I think that's what podcasts need these days is Wow, I'm having trouble with that too. Conscientious objectors to ridiculous email questions.
But
I think the next time you have like 4 guests on, that should just be like a 10 just conscientious. I think I'm pronouncing it wrong, aren't I? I think I'm doing something wrong about it.
The last one sounded right.
Okay, good.
But you know what's actually a very difficult tongue twister that sounds easy? I might have said this on the podcast before. Irish wristwatch.
Irish wristwatch. Oh yeah, I can see that because you have the 2 rish noises.
Yeah, say it 3 times fast.
Okay, this is a great use of our time. Irish wristwatch. Oh yeah, it comes apart on the second one. I'm not one of those people who's like, oh, say it 3 times fast. I can do that, and then does it, and then screws up on the 3rd one. No, I just stop as soon as I hear it coming out weird. You know? I don't put up with that bullshit. I'm not a tongue twister jackass.
It's funny. There's a radio show we listen to here. Well, I used to listen to it, and on Friday you can email in and do punch in the face.
Oh God!
Like you're like that? Punch blub. Like you don't use last names, but I had them punch Eric in the face.
Yeah.
And
you guys did this one episode.
Yeah. And a few times I emailed them and I said, punch Eric for stealing my Irish wristwatch. And the guy was reading it and he screwed up every time and he got pissed off.
Oh, that's good. That's good. You know what I haven't listened to in a while, and I only learned about it through you? Mr. Burgess.
Mr. Burgess. What are they riding? Tigers?
I think if we had some more guests on and NASCAR came up, I could have brought up the Kenyan 500. What are they riding? Tigers? But yeah.
Oh man, NASCAR. What do they care about? Well, they like racing over there, and they're like Formula 1 and stuff like that, right? Or do you not?
I mean, I don't personally know anyone who gives a shit about that, but I do know it's a thing that's followed. I know some people who are big into football, and again, like I'm at an international school, so I don't know that many Germans, but I know lots of Europeans and Africans, and mostly really those 2 continents. And yeah, they're big on their soccer. Yeah. And my city has a soccer team, so that's a big deal too.
Any riots yet?
Full-on riots, no, but I was once given the advice of don't go downtown on a soccer game day, because if they win, the whole downtown's going to be just celebration. It would be comparable to the Red Sox winning a big game against the Yankees in Boston. You don't want to be on the streets when that happens.
No, you don't. The Red Sox on America's old national pastime, which is terrible. Baseball is the most boring game of all time, and Eric's not here to defend it. But no, baseball is it's unique, but that doesn't make it good. It's boring.
I've been to some, I think minor league. They're usually the New England Rockcats. No, not New England.
Nashua? Or
no. Something.
It doesn't matter. Go ahead. Keep going.
It's a Connecticut team.
Okay.
And they played against the Connecticut Defenders, who are just much better than the Rockcats. And I usually go just because it's kind of like my grandfather wants to go to a baseball game, so I go along and I might bring a friend. And yeah, the baseball game itself is boring, but like being at a baseball game with some friends, it's great. It's just kind of like that festive atmosphere.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
I mean, and people on the show, you've made comments of the same kind of style about NASCAR. Even it's really one of those things like. Even me, like as someone who doesn't really care about sports, like being at an event with some people who you're friends with, the game isn't important at that point. It's just true. It's a good excuse to like hang out with some friends. And like as someone who like I used to spend a lot of time just like hanging out like in my basement or wherever, and like that's fun, but it's more fun if you feel like you're doing something.
Oh, that's a good thing. Like a baseball game as opposed to an opera or something. You can go enjoy the event, but also talk to your friends and enjoy yourself.
Yeah, you can just kind of blow it off and just curse constantly.
Certainly.
Maybe throw rocks at the security guards.
That you probably wouldn't last too long. Actually, it's funny. That reminds me. In high school, we had to write essays. Like I can't remember the exact term, but it was like pretty much a how-to guide for something.
Oh yeah.
And one of my friends wrote an essay like how to be successful in the game of Risk. And my essay was how to get thrown out of a hockey game. And I escalated each time to the final one was like bringing a gun into the stadium and shooting it like a cowboy.
Oh my! What grade did you get for that?
A low A, I believe.
Nice. One where we had to write a personal narrative. So just a first person, and it was ideally based off of an actual experience you've had. It means some of my friends were like, "That's ridiculous! Like we can't think of anything exciting that's happened to us. We don't play sports. It's not like we can talk about when we hit the winning home run or something, or the winning slap shot." Or the time where we won because one of our skaters just stripped naked, and one of the other guys on the other team was really pissed off and complained and got themselves kicked out of the game. But I digress. So me and some of my friends, we decided to write just like weird like historical fiction stuff. So one of my friends wrote one about D-Day, where he was in the D-Day invasion, and he had to rewrite his. Because it was too ridiculous. But mine was about being a samurai in maybe the late 18th century Japan, and I got like an A+ on it. It was pretty ridiculous. Like it involved the main character, like just like murdering Japanese bandits and stuff.
That actually reminds me. Have you ever read the book Under the Blood Red Sun?
No, I haven't.
It's about this like Japanese kid during World War II in America when like his father got sent to an internment camp and whatever.
Yeah.
And the ending of the book, I can't remember what it was, but it was terrible and like everyone hated it. So the teacher gave us an assignment to like make a new ending.
Rewrite it.
Yeah. So my friend and I, we both made completely outrageous endings, and like we thought it was a homework assignment, so we brought it home and made it like 5 pages, whatever. And the teacher wouldn't accept it because it was supposed to be turned in at the end of class that day. So, but ours were both outrageous. Like his ended with grandpa coming back.
I find that
telling the kid to fuck off, and he like lit the barn on fire and like stole his dad's samurai sword and sliced people. And on mine, the dad like was mad because all his friends were at the bottom of Pearl Harbor, so he tied a rock to himself and jumped down to be with them.
Wow, that's intense. That is intense.
But we both got zeros.
When I was in first grade, we had this. It must have been part of like the drug education program, and we had it was like this coloring book about anthropomorphized dinosaurs, and it was like it had to do with like confronting a bully. That was really what it was about. It wasn't part of drug education, but it was about that sort of thing. And so you have like the Brontosaurus and the all these like vegetarian dinosaurs, and you had like the douchebag T-Rex. Yep. And it was a coloring book. But then at the very end of this, at the very end, like there's a big there's about to be a big conflict between the good guys and like the bully and his friends, and then you get to draw and write the last page. And with mine, I end it with the main character is by the bully, and so the drawing is just like a dinosaur brain and some bones and the dinosaur's eyeglasses, and then it's just he got destroyed by the bully. The end. And I'm like, I look back on that and I'm like, oh my god, was I like what was wrong with me? Like, I hope I didn't turn that into the teacher, because I'm sure I would have gotten my parents would have gotten arrested or something.
All right, we have a break coming up in 3 seconds because it's coming up to 20 minutes right now.
Oh,
so
yeah.
We'll be right back.
So the other day I was on the streets and people were telling me that I look like crap and that people on Jersey Shore are so much cooler than me. So I'm going to the agency right now and I'm going to up my street cred.
Come in.
Hello, Mr. Homosexual. Can you please help me get my street cred up?
Well, if you want to get your German street cred up, and I mean German street cred, that's the #1 street cred nowadays, you better go to Def Shop at defshop.de, the only place for German street apparel. This place has everything. It has hoodies with obnoxious embroideries. It has really poofy, feathery jackets that all the black Germans like to wear. And it's got really poofy hoods that make you look like you should be an Eskimo, but in reality you're a white guy trying to be black. So many options. What do you think, good sir?
I really like the white guy trying to be black thing. That has worked for me in the past, but right now it's not working. My fake chains are not working. My big penis is not working. What do I do?
Well, the only thing I can really suggest is you better go to Def Shop at defshop.de. Really, you gotta get everything. They got the Karakani, the Nerges, the Echo, the Adidas, the Nikkei, and the Fubu.
Does it come with white stains like the one on your shirt?
Probably, but it'll cost you extra. Only $10.
That's not a bad deal. I think I will take it. Defshop.de. Yeah. New Jersey loves you.
All right, that was another interesting commercial.
Yeah, and it was really considerate of you guys to take into consideration your German sponsors, because people might not realize this, but if you're on the internet in a different country, all those little automated ads are the country that you're in. So like where I am. Yeah, I mean, Def Shop, got skills, got style. I see it all the time.
We appreciate our sponsors, and we reciprocate that love right back to them.
And somehow I appreciate that.
I wonder if like people at the actual businesses like Netflix, if they heard our commercials, if they'd be pleased. The ads that you guys make for Netflix are good because as ridiculous as they get, the message is always the same. Netflix is great. I think Paw to Paw Promise might have some problems with you. They might.
I think they, even though your ads never say anything bad about them, they're always associated with dog murder and dogs being eaten after being murdered or decapitated dogs in fridges. So I feel like it's a good thing that Paw to Paw Promise probably doesn't have any listeners to this program.
It's possible.
Although admittedly, I think your Paw to Paw Promise commercials are really catchy. Like as I said earlier on the show, I really want to go to their site. Like I don't even have pets. I live in Germany. Website just because I hear it so often, and that's weird because whoever actually buys something because they hear an ad. But with me, I'm like, oh man, I wish I had a pet they could pet sit.
Well, it's a subconscious thing. That's how advertising works.
Yeah, but normally it doesn't work for me. But Paw to Paw Promise, I don't know. Maybe it's just because of the crazy alliteration. And what was that first commercial? Like the Paw to Paw Promise Pelt Program? That's a quintuple P.
That might be too many P's right there.
Possibly.
More P's. But yeah, it's fun making these commercials. And
yeah, I think
the only company that could legitimately be angry with us is Redbox.
But we're not doing commercials for them. I don't think our Netflix commercials are any more offensive than any political advertisement.
That's true. Next election season, we should if the podcast is still around, we should definitely do some political commercials.
Definitely. You know what we should do? We should just pre-record some in advance. Do some Sarah Palin campaign ads. We can make remarks about. Did you hear that Sarah Palin's actually going to be one of the co-stars in the 5th Transformers movie? She's going to be one of the Transformers.
No, she's going to be the one running around with a big gun, and they're going to have her in slow motion, so everyone can jerk off to it.
Bear. What?
So they're going to have her running in slow motion like Megan Fox, so everyone can jerk off to her. Like all the conservatives already do.
I was actually thinking about this earlier when you guys were hating on Transformers on the show. I don't understand. Like I look at Megan Fox, and it's like looking at, I don't know, Jessica Parker plus extra horse. She's not attractive to me. She looks like an anorexic horse, I guess.
Well, I can see how people would find her attractive, but I don't really. It doesn't do anything for me, really.
Yeah, it's like one of those things where, I remember, when the first Transformers movie came out, and I saw it, not in theaters, but just on TV or bootlegged or whatever. Not bootlegged. And I watched it, and it was like, oh yeah, that chick's kind of hot. But there's no other girls in that movie, so it's not like you have anything to compare it with. But like as soon as you like return to your life, you're like, wow, even Sarah Jessica Parker looks better than that. Hell, even an actual horse looks better than that. A male horse.
How do you think of Eric's irrational or rational hatred of horses?
Well, I know how he hates Sarah Jessica Parker, and he compares her to a horse. What was it, like one of the first episodes where he actually hated horses? I believe, did he actually just talk about horses?
Yes, he talked about horses and how he hates any girl who owns a horse and he never wants to date one.
I don't want to get into horses too much, just the topic, because what I have to say could be an entire podcast. But I feel a lot of pity for horses, because they're essentially slaves. They're treated pretty well, but they're slaves.
That's true. They'd rather be feral horses.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things where like you have to look at it. Like, look at horses and look at cows. With cows, it's pretty bad. They're getting murdered and eaten. But what is worse, being murdered and eaten, or living in slavery?
That could be a new campaign ad for PETA.
And I gotta say, this is starting to get a little too close to sophisticated conversation for my likes. So I think we need to get a little bit more back on topic. But yeah, I think Eric's hatred of girls who like horses. I think a girl who's like horses are fine. Yeah, like I like horses just because like they're noble and they're enslaved. You know, like that. I look at.
Yeah, that's an interesting.
If I'm like, oh my god, I love horses.
Ironic.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's very, I don't know. It's kind of like the whole like noble savage thing, which is kind of racist. But since it's horses in this situation, I don't feel like it's racist.
Oh, could you see yourself punching a horse in the face before you punch a cow in the face?
I would much rather punch a cow in the face. I feel like the cow would just be like, I feel like cows are just like in this stupor, because they're just like, I'm going to eat some grass and then get murdered. But with horses, it's like you punch it in the face, and that horse is like, I'm going to remember this. And the day that I get loose, I'm going to murder you. So I'd rather be on the bad side of a cow, because like wait 2 weeks and I'm going to be eating that cow in a hamburger. But an actually weird thing though, I just made all these remarks about how like I feel horses, if they're noble and this sort of thing, but I also really want to try some, like eat horse.
Just go to Taco Bell, you'll be all set.
Which sounds ridiculous, but in Europe it's not as taboo. So like if I really like put a little bit of effort in, I could find like horse steak, and I'm really curious like what would it be like? Like I imagine it being like lean and kind of. I imagine it being kind of like lamb, like slightly sweet but lean. I don't know. Why am I talking about this?
I think it would be
like,
more
I sound
like a deer.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't think I've had venison before. But yeah, I think it would be kind of like a deer. I think it would be like a mixture of like deer and steak.
All right, moving on.
Oh, yeah, moving on. Yes, please. I've got myself into an awkward subject.
Oh man, does it bother you when we eat on the show?
I think if you're to eat one thing, like or if you talk while you're eating, that's really obnoxious.
Okay.
But just eating, then it's like, you know, you can kind of take a scooch back away from the microphone. It's not so bad. But I think honestly, like whoever first complained about it, you really shouldn't be eating on the air. Or if you do, just do it and just have no regrets. Just be like, fuck you guys, we're gonna eat on the air whenever we want and you guys can deal with it. Stop being pussies.
Can you pretty much tell that I've been eating popcorn throughout this whole show?
Oh yeah, like it's obvious it's been popcorn.
It's movie theater popcorn from the movies yesterday. It's amazing.
Well, I actually have an argument on this though. The only thing better than movie popcorn is circus popcorn.
I haven't been to a circus in years.
While they're almost the same thing, think of like the classic popcorn machines, you know.
Yeah.
While the movie ones are pretty much the same thing, they don't have the same look and they don't have the exact they're not exactly the same. So you get like salt in circus popcorn.
How are the movie theaters? Speaking of that, over there in Germany, have you been yet?
I've briefly been inside the main entrance of one, and it was like one of the ones downtown, so it was really nice looking. But I haven't been in any.
Interesting.
I feel like especially like here, like most people, if they really want to see a movie, they just get a non-official version of it.
Yeah, true, because there's no copyright laws there, correct?
Oh, there are copyright laws. It's just, I feel like nowadays with the internet, and since we're all like students, like who has the money to go to the movie theaters?
That's true. Because I know a lot of torrents and stuff originate over in Germany.
Yeah, I think there are different copyright laws, but there's still copyright laws. It isn't like we're living in like rural Micronesia
or wherever those pirates were from.
Somalia.
Yeah, Somalia, where there's no government.
Right.
A lot of people hate the government, but imagine living in a country where there is no government.
Yeah, I mean that would suck. No, because like here's what it would be like. Here's what people think about it. Like people who are like those stupid like hippie anarchists who don't really understand what anarchy is. They're like, oh man, it'd be awesome. We'd live off the land and everybody would share everything and everybody would be relaxed. Like, know what the real truth would be? You know what would happen if there was no government?
Everybody would kill each other.
But rape. I'm going to say that once more just to really get the point across. But rape. That's what would happen. You'd be like, at first the hippies would all be pretty psyched and they'd be like, let's live together. And then like hillbillies would show up and it would be deliverance times 1,000.
With the butt rape, would they at least use lube?
Probably not. If they're
oh no! Oh no! I do not want anarchy then.
Yeah.
Well, even if there was lube, I still don't want it. But that makes it even worse.
It's one of those things like, yeah, if everybody was a hippie like you, I'm sure it would be great. But all people who don't want to be hippies, like hippies, I don't know. I don't want to get into that topic.
Like Hippie Dave?
Hippie Dave isn't as bad as some hippies. Honestly, though, nowadays, I have more of a problem with hipsters than hippies.
I've heard a lot of differing things. How would you define a hipster?
Well, the important thing to understand is that the origin of hipsters was back in the 1950s. It was white people who wanted to act like black jazz musicians. That's where it originated.
Okay.
So think of like the birth of jazz, where it was, all African American, black, however you want to phrase it, music. It was white guys trying to like pretending to be black.
Like
but back then, I guess, except before rap, when jazz was the black music.
Okay.
And now it's just like, I think the best thing I've read online was essentially it's a culture where like the emo people are whiny and hate their lives, and the hipsters just think they're better than everyone. They're just extraordinarily arrogant, and they seem to think that they've got they feel like they have an objective grasp on like why they are morally superior to everyone else based on their music interests and I'm going to try and do air quotes with my voice as best I can, their subversive choices in independent arts and...
Sounds like me. Sounds like most of the people on this podcast.
Well, yeah, but it's one of those things where it's like, oh, you have Levi jeans. I've got $500 American Apparel jeans. It's like, what? And then the next day, they're like, I've got these $2 ratty jeans I got at Goodwill. It's like, how's it making better than me? Like, that's the thing. Like, it doesn't matter what they're doing. They do it because it makes them feel superior, but like not necessarily actually makes them superior.
That's fair.
I mean, I feel like that's as much detail as I can give. You have to like understand where it came from, and then the general mindset, and then from there, the rest of it's a cakewalk. Hipsters are like yuppie hippies, which is weird because I'm already combining like two other slang words to make this new one.
I can live with that, and I think those in our podcast audience will accept it. I don't think we'll get any emails disputing that your references. Yeah, I mean, like, honestly, I don't think I know anyone who's a hipster. It's really one of those things, like, I think if I lived in New York City, and I lived in, like, I don't know, is the Alphabet District a place?
If it is, that's like Rent, the musical Rent.
Yep.
Those people are hipsters. They're also, what's it called when you just live in an abandoned building? Squatters. They're also squatters, but that's a completely different thing. Don't get me started on Rent. That movie is just, ugh. I think the only good thing that came out of Rent was the spoof made of it in Team America.
I haven't seen that movie since it was in theaters. I need to see that again. But, I think it's time for our final commercial break, and then we'll get into our recommendations. We'll be right back. Go.
You know what my favorite part of Star Wars is?
What's your favorite part of Star Wars?
The Tauntauns.
Why do you like the Tauntauns so much?
Because if Han Solo's Tauntaun hadn't died in Episode 5, he wouldn't have been able to keep Luke warm, and Luke wouldn't have been able to get to the Dagobah system, and the whole story wouldn't have worked.
Well, you know what's funny about that is, besides the fact that Tauntauns sound like tatas, which is a euphemism for girls' breasts. It's also funny that the whole reason they filmed the scene on Hoth where he gets hurt is because he got in a car accident and he hurt his face.
He probably got you think
It's funny, he can drive an X-Wing, but he can't drive a car. It's kind of like General Patton, who can fight a war but can't drive a car, and he died after. It's not that funny,
I
actually.
bet he could tire in a swamp rat at 50 meters. Tauntauns.
One time, I saw a rat. I thought it was a swamp rat, but it was just a really big rat in the subway.
What did you do? Did you use your skills as a level 13 Padawan mistress to take off your shirt?
I would have. I tried to catch him in my shirt, but he was too fast. So then I got on my T-16 Skyhopper and chased him, but then I realized that it only worked on the Game Boy.
So what happened to your Game Boy?
Some tough guy hit it out of my hand and broke it, and he said he didn't like me, and I said I ran away.
You should have cast a level 50 disappearing spell.
He's just lucky that I didn't have my fantastic replica lightsaber with me. The one that lights up and makes noises. He was such a meathead, he probably would have thought it was real, and he would have ran for the hills.
Yeah,
But,
Jedi.
But then I would have done my triumphant battle cry and gone.
This is a world where that is an effective form of birth control. Or you can use Trojan condoms made for men.
Alright, we're back. And now we're going to do the way we normally end every episode with recommendations. And normally we do books or movies or video games. Video games is a good one. But this week we're going to do a little different and do one that we normally do, which is movies. So, and slightly off, instead of movie that we recommend just on a whim, we'll say our favorite movie that we've seen in the last year. So, that puts a little restrictions on it. Tab, what movies have you seen? Or what's your favorite movie in the last year?
Ooh, favorite movie. I'm gonna save myself the hassle of thinking about it and just choose a movie that I really liked that came out recently. It came out in 2009, but came out on DVD 2010, so I'd say it's recent. It's called Pontypool. It's a Canadian horror film. To save myself the hassle of doing any type of synopsis, it's essentially a zombie film, but it's not really, and I don't mean not really in the way that 28 Days Later is not really. That's just a completely different thing. It's essentially zombies, but it does it in a different way, and it's pretty decent. And it's surprising actually. There's a lot of really good Canadian-made zombie films, but they're all Canadian, so they're not really well known.
Interesting. And my favorite movie of the last year that I've talked about on the show, some people say too much, is Social Network. So I'll say that's my favorite movie, but I'm not going to talk about it. Instead, I'll say my favorite movie that I think reaches more of a general audience that pretty much anyone can relate to is The Fighter with Mark Wahlberg and Christian Bale. Have
Oh,
you,
it has.
have you seen
I
that?
haven't seen it. But hearing that it has Mark Wahlberg and Christian Bale, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah, and like Mark Wahlberg,
I mean-
some people don't like him, some people don't like his mannerisms, but he does a good job in this movie. And Christian Bale, I'd bet money right now that he will win Best Supporting Actor this year. And
Yeah,
drunk guy.
I knew the name Mark Wahlberg before I learned that he was Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch, which is just indicative of my cultural ignorance. And Christian Bale, I really like in his non-Batman roles. I'm not going to get in details of why I don't like the Batman movies, but I like him in other things he's been in. He was in The Prestige, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. Another
Yeah.
Christopher Nolan movie.
Yeah, I really liked him in The Prestige, and he was in something else that I liked, which I sadly can't remember the name of.
He's been in a lot of things. Oh, what's the other one he was in? He's in The Machinist and
Let me just look it up. I'm already on Wikipedia.
Empire of the Sun, where he was like a little kid.
No, it definitely wasn't that. Oh, he was in 310 to Yuma.
I haven't seen that.
It's pretty decent. I mean, it's a decent western that's been made recently. I mean, nowadays you can't compare westerns nowadays to like Clint Eastwood, you know.
True.
But it's a decent movie, and it's great because not the villain, but definitely the antagonist is played by Kurt Russell. No, not Kurt Russell. Russell Crowe, who is just obnoxious. Like, I can't speak for him in real life, but in this movie, he just pisses me off, which is great because he's the antagonist, so he's supposed to. Something about his face just irritates me.
Actually, it's funny. Speaking of Clint Eastwood a minute ago, have you ever seen the movie Gran Torino?
Oh, yeah. That was good.
I liked it, but I thought it was a little overrated. And I thought the script was a little like the scene of the barber shop. Like, that took me way out of the movie. I was like, no one does that.
Yeah, there was a scene or two where the dialogue was a little choppy, or even just like the scene itself was a little wooden. But overall, the movie was fine.
Yeah, I'd say so. I'd watch it again.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good Clint Eastwood movie. I'll just put it like that.
Normally, the highest remark I can give for a movie is that I'd watch it again. Or not the highest, but that's a pretty high mark.
Yeah, like that's a good benchmark. Yeah.
But all right, well, it's been good having you as a guest.
Yeah, it's been a real pleasure to be on the show. And before you even get to thanking people, I want to thank myself because without episode, because there's no Eric, so it's
hang on a second. You chopped out for a second. You want to start over again?
Yeah, I mean, I want to, before John even gets to the whole thanking people part, I want to thank myself because since Eric's not here, there wouldn't have been a second person to do the show with. So, bravo to me.
That's
again,
true.
Again, I'm going to start making enemies while I make some friends if I keep saying stuff like this. John?
Well, I'd like to thank our listeners and the one possibly strange listener who keeps sending us emails and says his name is Ramon. So thank you, Ramon, whoever you are. And obviously I'd like to thank myself because without me, nothing would happen.
Exactly. I mean, without you, I couldn't be on the show because there'd be no show.
No, and literally, the show, I've been on every episode. No one else can say that.
Exactly.
But actually, I wonder how terrible an episode would be if it was just me all by myself for like an hour.
What would you do? Would you just talk to yourself?
I don't know. Maybe I'd read a book.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if it was just you, it would probably be about as bad as episode 34, I think it was, where you guys just went on the internet and read stuff. If I could recommend an episode of Podcast Revolution to never watch, probably 34. Or maybe this one.
All right. And what episode would you recommend that people do listen to?
30 without a doubt, because it had guest stars who I don't think either of them had ever been on the show.
J. Russ had been on the show before.
Oh yeah, J. Russ was on it. But it was the guests who don't fit the exact feel of, say, if it's just John and Eric. So it changed the style of the show, but within the same format. So it was very interesting, and it was much more sophisticated conversation than probably any other episode. So it lived up to the promise.
But So far, I think the most popular episode by far is the bachelor party one,
Probably. That was good.
where there was a lot of pulling out in that one.
Yes.
Back to your Mike's great commentary. Or was it that one, or was it the Canada one where he said pull out a lot? Or was it both?
I don't know. It might have been both. I don't remember. I only listened to the specials once, but there's a couple of normal episodes that I listened to multiple times.
You put a little gold star next to them?
I really ought to. What I really ought to do is write episode summaries for my own personal reference, which, like, even as I say that, I'm like, never gonna. I did. That just indicates the sad pit of despair I sunk into, where I spend my 4 hours summarizing a podcast that no one watches. Well, that's a.
Someday we should scour the archives. We should scour the archives someday and make a best of episode.
Ooh, that'd be good.
But best
even if you were just like take a couple episodes, yeah, that could actually be a good episode, and it'd be great. 'Cause then that one you can make the movie out of. Podcast. Or you could call it movie revolution.
Oh man. And we could do some dancing in it. Play some DDR.
You'd have the dance challenge between who was it? Pat, Eric, and Cages.
Actually, I do have the dance competition from my wedding on video. I still need to post that, but it's pretty magnificent, especially Cages' roll into a split.
Really?
It was a sight to behold.
Yeah, weren't you going to put up like pictures of the cast or fake pictures of the cast or whatever it was you were going to do?
Yeah, we were going to do a website, but then Davi decided to join the army, and now he's in Kuwait right now, so we have to wait till he gets back.
Oh, yeah, that's too bad. I remember, I'm pretty sure it might have been when you had Davi on, unless you had someone else on who was, I think Eric was talking about one of his friends who was deployed, that he made a remark about how, like, in one day he was in a firefight and then an IED hit, like, the vehicle in front of him, and somebody in the audience was like, cool. And I was like, that doesn't seem like the appropriate response. It should be like, oh, wow, that's too bad.
Yeah, that's...
Go back to that episode and figure...
It might have been me who said that, but I wasn't being serious if I did.
Oh, yeah, like that was, I think that's what it was. I think it wasn't really intentional, but it kind of came across that way that you were just really insensitive. You were like awesome, it blew up.
Like Jerry Seinfeld just being like, oh, that's a shame.
You know, someone made a remark once about this show kind of being like Seinfeld, and I gotta agree. Like, it's one of those things where, like, we're regular people, but there's something a little bit off about all of us. And I mean, with most of the, yeah, with all the established guests, you know, they all kind of have their thing. Like, I mean, Bacteria Mike's just Bacteria Mike, and Eric has his OCD, and I mean, you've got a couple things. So the only thing that comes to my mind is riding horses in Boston, and Cages doesn't know his phone number, and you know, I'm kind of hoping that if I'll be able to come back to the show and eventually become one of those sociopathic, you know, guest hosts, really.
Well, time will tell. Just as long as you don't get arrested for looking up Pokemon furries.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. Maybe when you post this show, I'll listen to it and just be like, wow, that was such a bad idea.
Oh, my. But this, which always happens, the conclusion continues ad nauseum.
Yes.
So
I don't think I've been helping that at all.
All right.
I don't want to leave.
Say goodbye.
Auf Wiedersehen.
All right. Das Vidania.